We're calling this meeting to order at 7 o'clock. John Smith. Here. Holly Mueller. Here. Nancy Russell. Here. Kim Armstrong. Here. And I'm present. Here. For the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
So we need to amend our agenda here tonight because we have to approve the minutes from our last meeting. It's just like a technical thing here. So I move to well, let's do a 2A and approve the agenda of our discussion decision with us. Right, like approve the agenda and then add under there the minutes from our June meeting.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, we didn't go through it yesterday.
So I would move adoption of the minutes at that meeting.
Sure, sorry. Oh, right. I'm sorry, what did you say?
I just said I move adoption of the minutes.
Right. I'll second. All those in favor of adopting the minutes?
Aye.
Approve the minutes? Okay, the minutes are approved. Okay. Next up is discussion decision Cromaine comments. I'd like to start this off, I believe, with Sue. Thank you.
So I can introduce you. This is Sue Grissom. She is I call you our project manager, but you're the lead architect at Grissom Trees. Am I saying trees right?
Yeah.
Architects.
Yeah.
And she's done a lot of work for us over the last few months. So I'm gonna let you start us off, but I hope everyone has time to read the packet bits. Sue sent the nice agenda of what she's gonna go over that's in here, so it's different than our meeting agenda. To catch you up about what got us to this point. I think, right? So go ahead, tell them what we've been doing. We've been working really hard.
Yeah. So really last time we were together was back in the winter time. We were getting ready to award the bid for our library project. And right before we did that, our school came to us and said they had a deed that said that they get to turn their bus around on the property and have parking. Right when we were ready to award our bid. So we spent quite a bit of time working through with them what was acceptable. And what you see here now on the plan was where we got to trying to make it work for everybody. So when you look at the top of the plan, you can see, I'm gonna walk over just so I don't have a pointer, try not to block. This is School Road. Here's our child care center and schools. So now off of School Road, this is an entrance in. And it's a drop off for the bus, so the bus can pull in here, drop the kids off, circle around and leave. It's like a one way in and one way out. And then the other part of the deed was they were allowed to have parking. You say how much, that was fun. But we created a paved parking lot that they will use, but then also this is a sidewalk, a exit that we can use when you have events and things for your area as well. So we went back and forth on this many rounds. And that's where we got, and then also what was really cool is you guys got that grant for the Heritage Garden. And now that incorporated, since we had to update the plan anyway, we knew the garden was coming. We just put that as part of this job, so when we redid it, which we did, we had it all together. So instead of, later, so that worked to our favor. And so we, basically followed the scheme that we had, the public engagement section for all the different elements. And just made it all work together. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. I could go further, but that's the big idea.
And I started with this picture. This is the end of a 35-page document, 34-page document. Just because I wanted the board and the public to see what the parking lot and the roundabout looks like now. I know it's hard to still envision a lot of the things there. I did write a memo that talks about the decisions we have to make.
Yeah.
The part I would point out, I think everyone's seen images of the train we're gonna put in the garden. That's what this little bit here is.
Yeah.
Just because I'm in love with the train, I did that.
And what is the train called?
The storyline. And it'll have the date 1926 on it, which is when we were founded, which was 27, sorry, it is not 2026. So all of that's in here, and I do have some images that, they're the images we showed at the Public Engagement Center. These are all trees, which we did pick 3 types of trees, because a lot of the feedback was don't do the same kind of tree. We did listen to that. There'll be a garden all around here that I've talked to the garden club about. This is where the pavilion is. So there a lot went into the parking lot and making the drainage underneath here work. So that's what a lot of the cost is, which the board will notice, hopefully not notice that part, but getting it to drain was a big deal. I do have the images you sent me of those frontage gates.
Do we want to share that and
Well,
talk about it? We've got decisions.
Yes, that's part of a decision, or do you want to talk through what happened, the process that happened? Do you guys have questions about all that?
Do you understand the plan, or do you want me to avoid anything else? Kind of get.
I would like to discuss the gates, because specifically where were the gates going to go? Was that gonna be on the garden side or?
Yep, it was. What was happening was when we had the images, all of this wiggly stuff is play surface, you know, and then there's play elements in it. And from when you're walking in, this is a sidewalk here, okay? When you walk in here, just like Sarah said, this is kind of like it's a rubberized surface with train track stripes, like you're on the tracks. And when you walk through right there, that's a gateway. You walk underneath. It was like a village, like a stage set, like a frontage. Those, see those?
Those are the gates.
Those are the gates. And it was like both sides, you know, to flank that. So you would walk through here, and then these are some, you know, elements to play with. This is kind of like a tic-tac-toe, and this is a grid that we could do it. Brought us back to the day when we were weaving. It was real big here, so they could weave yard and all sorts of things. But it's really a nice entrance, you know, to kind of on both ends. That's what that's not included in our bid right now, because when we put all our dollars together, we had 2 of them, and it was about a $62,000 cost to do it. We did it through 3 different ways, and it all came at that, but they're so cool.
And that's why that's one of the decision points. I just wanted you to see them. And when you say gate, you think like swinging.
Yes,
I just wanted you to see,
right,
it's kind of a way to delineate where it starts and stops. And if we go back to this one, there are these little lines here. So we can function without it. It's just a neat feature. I'm not sure how I feel about it. They had to be engineered because they have to resist wind and things like that for the cost that goes into those. And the real decision points that Sue and I came to is, as you noticed, if you looked at the bid, everything went up because A, there's more, and B, the world costs more than it did in January. So we already have increased our budget. So I listed out what we had agreed to, and we really need to think about contingency. So, but I don't want to get just to that decision point yet. I don't know. Are there other questions about the materials or about schedule? I also put the schedule at the end. I don't know if you're used to looking at a schedule that has the lines. You know, it's best case when you schedule with your contract.
And I want to explain the bid again, because what happened was, you know, we bid back in December, and we got 2 bids. Artisan and Midwest, and they were both great contractors, so that was wonderful. Then we had the negotiations with the school, and we kept both of the contractors on board, saying, we're trying to resolve this, you know, please stay with us. Back in December, we wanted to award the bid to Midwest. They were the lower bid, qualified, whatever. Well, anyway, when we went to rebid it, Sarah looked at the rules, and it said we could go back to the 2 bidders, we didn't have to open it up to the rest of the public again. We wanted to make sure we followed the bid process right. So we had a meeting with both bidders, showed them the new drawings, got them all set, And the day the bids were due, Artisan said they weren't gonna bid. So we only got Midwest, but it was kind of good because Midwest know that Artisan wasn't out, so they were sharpening their pencils, which was good. But again, we only have one bid. We had already checked out all their references back in December, they're great. He's local, it's all good. But as a bummer, we didn't get 2 bids, but that's what happened.
Do you know why artists backed out?
They were too busy. You know, what happened was they had lined everything up, you know, thinking everything was gonna start in the spring. And now that we had to push the schedule, they thought they could do it, then they realized they just couldn't do the quality that, you know, they were scared, which is good because they're a great company and we're smart about that. But right at the last second, they just said, we're stretched too thin. Wanted that story on that. And then meanwhile, in addition to all this stuff, what we have to do is we had to go for all the reviews to get the permits almost ready. So when we do award, hopefully we award the, you know, the job to Midwest, they have to go to the county. And like Sarah said, they've got to get a permit from the county for the drainage. They have to go to the county for the roads, because we've got parallel parking now on School Street. And we're adjusting some on Hartland, doing some improvements, showing crosswalks. The road commission has approved all our plans, so that's good. We went to the township. The engineers had to look at all of it. They had some comments that our engineer had to update. So we've got everything kind of ready to go. We're in a really good spot. So when we do get to schedule, we're kind of going, okay, contractor, pretty much you just have to knock on the door. We're almost there so you can get your permits. So that was going on and same time. So we didn't waste time, right?
So it should be in a ideal situation, since we should contact the road commission, the township and the drain commission. When we award the bid, then they need to just pull the permits, go knock on the doors. Basically.
Right.
Here you go.
Pretty much. We sent in our updated plans to the drain commission. We're waiting to hear back, but it should be within a week. And when we go through the schedule, the contractor has to basically come here, sign contracts, give bonds. There's some of that. So he wasn't even planning to get on site until August. So I feel like we're, you know, you hate to say it, but I feel like we're moving along.
Well, I have another question. Sure. Because we have in here we have the bid price and then plus 22,500 to add the sod.
So when we did the job, okay, we said the base bid would be for seeded lawn. As if for, you know, based on it, depends when they put the lawn in, but right now the schedule, because seeded lawn works in the spring and in the fall. Summertime is rough. So we thought just to hedge our bet, we would have, if you did do sod, how much more would it cost versus seed? And sod, as we all know, costs more. So that would be, if we had to go to sod, now we know it would be $22,000 more. We're not counting on that. So we're gonna put irrigation, putting a sprinkler system in, which is wonderful. So we don't need to, but we just like to get it up front versus later, get pricing later. Right.
And the goal would probably be seed, it'll be spring.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all good.
But the pricing, Sue's taught me a lot of things and getting the pricing now is smart.
Right.
Because we know
Trying
already
to be
to
smart.
right?
So was Rolls Mechanical a subcontractor to Midwest?
They are not. They are their own thing, working directly with you guys.
And they're who we have a contract with for the building right now. So we selected them as the sole,
Electrical and lighting.
Yeah, I knew they were with us, but I
Yes.
wondered, did they have a bump in price also based on the rate?
They did. They had a bump in price. And I quizzed the heck out of them on that too. So
How much was that? I couldn't.
it was like about $30,000 or $40,000 more.
Oh,
Or it was like, I'll just say it, I don't have my numbers right in front of me. Before it was like 90 something and now it's like 120 something.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So why did that happen? Of course, because it's like, well, you know, we're counting our pennies here. And the person who gave us the quote before, his name was Austin. Austin left for a new job. So we got the new guy, and the new guy, you know, here's Austin's bid, we're hardly changing anything, you know, all of it. He met and looked at the whole system, and he saw that Austin had not put pricing in for when they put all the electrical lines on the ground. the trenching, the conduit, it goes in plastic pipe and burying it. And that was pretty much the line of the attic off. He said that was missed on the first bit. Which is quoted.
Mostly it was because of her misquoted.
Yes, yes. So that was unfortunate, but you know. As was that, and they do great work, they're all over, you guys, we see them everywhere, and the guy who's now on board had like more experience, he's the real deal.
I went to this picture. There are other ones you want me to show them? I didn't know. The other pictures that we're not looking at are very detailed.
They're all the plans.
Yeah, there is one about lighting, right? It's in here, so.
Yeah, there is lighting.
But it's hard to look at, so and it's a slow mover. You know, we have like the size of it.
And I don't know that you need to see all the
They don't. I was trying to get to the top, but it's.
basically the whole set, there's the cover sheet that lists out every plan. So how do you begin on drawing? You show them a survey, what everything is on site today. So they look at that and then they can see what's changing. This company, Midwest, what they're going to do, and we're very lucky, because it wasn't part of our bid that they offered it for free. And they show up on site, because this is an old site, there's usually hidden treasures or whatever you want to call them below ground. They're going to do a ground penetrating radar through the whole site before they start digging, which, yes, please. So that was good. So they're gonna take our survey, we give them all the stuff and show that. And then the next plans are, what are we removing? That's a removal plan. And we've got all the engineering plans for, as Sarah said, drainage, storm, all sorts of stuff. Then we have paving. This is a paving plan. That new parking lots shaded in, it kind of calls out the items. It darkens whatever what the plan is. This is Lois of our play area, the Heritage Garden. It goes into all detailed layouts so they can do it. Down below are items, all the play items. Should we tell them about how we're doing that?
Yeah, and I kind of wish I brought pictures, but I didn't. But yes, we can, you want me to blow it up? Or do you know them?
Well, I know them, but what I wanted to say was, again, to save money, which was really good so we did the public engagement. And then we got the list of what everybody preferred, and we put it onto the play service with all the safety areas and all laid it out. But then one of the vendors we talked to said that you could join a contract collaborative.
Yeah, it's like a purchasing consortium for public entities, so you get around discount of 8% or 10%.
Yeah.
And we qualified, we're members now, so I think that's interesting, because we haven't joined one, being just a district library, we don't often do that, so it was good to know about.
So you guys are gonna buy that draft.
Yeah.
The contractor will install it, but you save like 8% on everything, which was good. So so that's what the plays, the schedule, it talks about every feature, where to buy it, but again, then you get the discount, which is great.
Can you just name some of the features?
So yeah, there's a boogie board, which is a thingy leg wiggle on. The mini arch looked like a rock climbing thing, right?
That you can crawl through, climb on. But most of the play is for 2 to 5 year old, but then we got some from 5 to 12. So like our arch can only be so tall, we kind of look at that too. So we've got the arch, we've got the whole music area. So we've got kind of like a xylophone, got the drums, then we have these beautiful, they look very natural with the garden of bells. It's really pretty. And then we've got these bouncers, they're kind of like balance bouncers that you step on, they like. And then of course we got the train. And that has a lot of features within it. You can get in the cars and steer, whatever.
And I think, this is the stuff probably in the, bike rack.
Information rule signs.
Like playground risk, and then tic-tac-toe panel, wire barrier, and symbol communication. If they're not within that, if we don't add the frontage case, they would be standalone and still there, featured and still, they just wouldn't be built into something. Correct, that's how I think that.
No hammocks though, right?
Well, the boogie board is the hammer.
It's kind of a flat hammock, it's not,
Yeah.
Oh,
But it kind of, it's kind of like a hammer.
but it's not the kind you're thinking of.
okay.
Yeah.
That was
a big concern from the community as well.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
hammocks, how.
Right.
so if you look, I know it's hard on the TV far away, but this boogie board thing hangs somehow, so it moves a little bit. here.
Yeah, a little movement.
Is this area shaded or is it?
It will be when the
outfield?
trees grow. It'll be, but in the middle of it isn't, so, if I scroll way down to the here, the trees are on the edges, and it does have some trees within the little kitty shape of it that are smaller trees. But it won't be as blazing as it is out there now, but it will eventually get growth. I don't know which one shows the trees.
Yeah, it would be, yeah.
Only-
Well, you go back, just go back to the one.
I know it's hard to control the sky, so here shows, yeah, trees.
You go back to
Okay.
the thing, you went by it at the point.
Were there any like tables or seating for adults that work in the children?
Yeah, there's benches, and that's a good question,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, there, that's pretty.
Real small. Yeah, it's a difficult thing. A smaller stuff. I'm not looking at the TV, is it?
Yeah, you're perfect.
Okay.
I'm gonna try not to block again. Oh, no, I forgot other really
Oh, yeah,
good feature.
okay.
Shoot. See this little kitty bean shaped thing? That's a tunnel. They can go through it, so the kids can go through, like the train, go through the tunnel. And we had big debates, would tunnel be the fake grass or this, that, and we got the tunnel that they can crawl through as well. And then we've got some benches on the edges, and then these guys are trees, the circles. There's like a tree, and then there's another smaller tree over there. So, and down there as well.
And so just 2 benches.
Just 2 benches here.
Yeah, and then there's one like right outside of the.
Yeah, and then
Benches for
in the library area, we have more seating too.
Just for the areas where the benches are,
Yeah.
right? Then the umbrella tables and then the other benches are gonna be outlining on the.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah, and we can go back.
Yeah.
There you go, yeah. So right here, it's not showing up, but these are pads for the umbrella tables. Exactly, and then we've got a couple benches out there too, for, got quite a mixture.
In these little squares.
Yeah.
That's really.
Exactly.
And those are gonna be like on a concrete pad.
They'll be on a concrete pad, so it's neat and tidy, so you don't have it in the lawn, but then for that, so we put a concrete pad underneath them. And then, you know, where you've got your pavilion, you can have more tables and chairs, not whatever you wanted, then we have one more spot down here, it's a brick patio, you can have. So you have all these different areas for groups of activities, different sizes, ton of flexibility.
We've had a number of generous donations for benches that'll be named, and there'll be opportunities to keep adding things, I think, in the future, if we need to, right? After we use it for a year or 2, we might decide to move things around or do things, but.
Right. Because things change all the time, faster, right? So we try to be as flexible as we can and just make a really nice space that do all your programming.
So can you show where, on the potential, you have omit for masonry piers and replacement?
Yeah, we've got a plan that I sent Sarah that will be real easy to walk through.
Okay,
And when we did that, you know, we sent these plans into the township. So when we started saying, maybe we wanna change things, I also sent it to them and said, if we decide to remove X, Y, or Z, are we still okay township, or do we have to go back and get another review? And they said, you're still okay. You have to give us your plans, but we don't need a review. That's good too, we have freedom.
I have to go find that one with the reds, give me
Yeah.
1 second. But it would be easiest to show them.
Yeah, because if we just kind of put it red.
My email me more time. What you see? Oh, I don't. Okay, so. So on one piece of paper, there was an acronym they asked me about, so the VE,
Value engineer.
okay,
VE.
yes.
Value engineer.
So that's things you could cut, or not.
Yeah. And you guys might come up with different ideas. We tried to look at the most ones we thought wouldn't impact the projects. You know, if we took it away, you could do them later, or, you know, wasn't really needed, but it's great to get your guys 2 cents on it too.
We have so many things to do before that.
It was in the original email with the agenda,
Ah, no.
because I tried to put it on, and then later I gave you some.
So the thing I'm looking for. There it is. It's a nice picture. I found that, I didn't know, but I don't see the red outline one.
I would hope I kind of labeled the file or something. Somebody might have helped you.
For the things we could pull out if we wanted to. So, we started this process and I do want to talk about it. And I'm opening the VE document, just take a minute. Maybe it has a picture, so it's
Okay,
probably big. Anyway, here it is. Yeah, great. You know, we're getting really tight to the amount that we had dedicated to this. So we started trying to find a way.
There we go.
How do I get out of that? There, okay.
Good job.
We tried to carve out that best practice is 10 or 15% contingency. And especially if you pause for winter, you know, what if we have a really wet spring and there might be unforeseen things that might happen. But you know, we give it to a budget and we hit it. So she gave me this list that has things that we could cut and we can look through it. The red things here are the things and where they are, and she'll walk us through that. It would only get us to 5% if we cut all these things. And the thing that would break my heart is the furniture, because people really want that. So then we had our budget meeting and I closed out the year and I saw how much we'll be moving into improvement next year. So we may need to spend it, but we have that money. So that was the two choices. We can trim it and it's fiscally responsible, but we're still spending a lot of money, right? Or we can designate the bit that we need for a full 10-15% and spend it if we need. So those are the choices there. Does that make sense in my memo?
Okay, so improvement would be like for improvement, like just for the project or improvement for the whole building as
No, it
well?
wouldn't come out of the budget that's approved. It would come out of what each year we've been moving money into designated for capital spending. So we'd have to do an amendment if we should have to use it to make it approved. But I'm just saying, you could right now say that's where we'll take contingency from. So we could agree to do that now and halfway through the project, maybe at the pause in the winter, I could assess where we're at and we could amend the budget if we do need to move some money into that. Or we could do it at a certain point. So it's half a dozen of one and six of the other, right? Like it's all lots of money, but that'd be my preference because it's easier. But the other one we could do as well, save within the budget. We're already at $2 million. So that's a big decision point that I don't want to make. I'm not sure which is best. And I didn't come up with that until this week. We thought we were going to have to carve out that, which we still could. If we want to, and that's where you were asking about the piers versus the post ends and different things. That's what this image is.
Yeah. Sure.
We had the brass tacks, a few things, and there were more things we looked into that we didn't choose to do because they had other repercussions.
Yeah, exactly, like other reviews.
Yes.
It just didn't make sense.
Do you want to walk them through those?
Yeah,
choices?
I do. So the first one we said is if we omit the concrete pad in the parking lot and replace it with asphalt, that would be a $3,000 savings. So if you can put your pointer over on the. Okay.
So the parking lot corner has a concrete pad right here. We can omit it and just stripe it. Structurally, it doesn't have to have concrete there. It was to just further delineate it. I'm okay with that one.
Where was that again? I'm sorry.
The corner of the parking lot, where we think put the porta potty and all that.
Yes.
Yeah, then we were working with the school, they didn't like the idea that if you drove in, you get trapped.
Right.
So, Markley, I said, well, how about if it turns into concrete, it's real clear, you didn't park, and they're gone. And so we could just have it asphalt in that corner, it will work fine with the porta potty, it will work good, we can stripe it, it's just, it would be concrete. 3,000 is covered, you need to do it. There's really not.
It's not a big savings either, it's a $2,000. It's $3,000 savings.
Yeah, it's not a ton, but there's not a negative to it. Not gonna, you know, they don't wanna park their car
Okay, so the difference between, okay, so because as we're gonna be spending a lot of money here.
Right.
Okay, so would asphalt over years though deteriorate, have to be redone as well? What would be the better choice is what we're asking, is what I would ask.
I think the better choice is to keep it all asphalt, because when it deteriorates, it's all gonna deteriorate. And then we're here, now we gotta work around the concrete.
Okay. So keep it, you'd say keep it.
Yeah,
And then you still have it painted.
we'll still have it painted. It was,
Okay.
we had a lot of back and forth with the school and that kind of helped us, but
Okay.
I'm just being funny, but they're gone, so.
It's also, if it's structural, it doesn't have
It's not,
concrete for a reason.
Yeah,
Right.
okay,
And it wouldn't look as odd when we don't have the porta potties there.
yeah,
Just part of the parking lot
right.
Okay.
when they're not there. How big is that little path?
It's like a 20 by 20 or something area. Cause you can see, like, it's the depth of a parking stall that's 20, it's about 20 by 20.
Okay.
The next one is, you know, the part about omitting the umbrella tables and benches, you know, we say you could buy them later. Okay, so again, if you got money at the end of the job, then just put them in. It's like it depends how you wanna play the game. It doesn't hurt the job at all. We're gonna create the pads, it's all ready for the furniture. It's just, do we say, okay, as we get closer to the end of the job, then we can buy them. I don't know, it was just, because they were $60,000. It was like, maybe that's a smart thing to do. So, you know,
And so that's in these areas that we just pointed out, the concrete pads would go in, but the furniture would, and they're gonna install.
So that, okay, it's almost like we need to discuss
Yes.
each thing and.
Yeah.
So first thing would be, what is for the concrete, would we really just stick with the asphalt as recommendation? Okay,
That's like.
okay, so it's almost like we have to take this one.
that was
Okay,
so
right,
right, and I appreciate it. So
Right, thank you.
If we were nickel and diming,
Right,
then
Yeah.
right,
I would
Yeah.
argue that we wait on the tables and benches, but if we have an extra
right,
$500,000,
right.
and that is something that the community really wants.
They really want that, yeah, and I agree, I think we should do that.
I feel like,
With it,
I
yeah.
feel like the point of the commentary is for people to come and
Yeah.
gather.
Come and sit and enjoy, and that was a
Yeah.
big, everyone was so excited at
Yeah.
that, you know, just, we really like that, we like that.
It was
so-
the number one goal, which they were seating.
Right, so is the consensus, okay,
So-
to keep that umbrellas in the.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe before we get into the specifics, the whole reason for the pause and the rebidding had to do with the school rethinking the turnaround of the buses.
Yes.
And I thought that the schools were going to put some money into the
Yeah,
project.
so-
Do you know how much that is?
I met with, I spoke to Chuck on the phone when I got the number, which it was a week ago. And it's still around where it was before, around 50,000 is what he thinks they could get, but I don't have anything ready.
So
So,
we're,
yeah.
just FYI, they are voting on that on Monday, it's on their.
What's on the agenda?
It's on their agenda. for-
Okay.
So,
Is that the amount?
I don't know the amount, but I do know it's on their agenda.
Okay, good.
We created a cost,
Yeah.
and we priced it all out. to
I
see
said,
how much it
I gave
costs.
him the full cost.
And I hope that's in their agenda, because it was 190,
Yeah,
and my goodness, come on, you guys, right?
Right.
so that's good to know.
So it sounds like they were gonna pay 50,000 or.
That was the number he had in his head, and so he was gonna have the financial person, Rachel, find out what they can do. But I have nothing ready, so if it's gonna be voted on, that'll be good, because then we'll know. And that number, I didn't incorporate into anything, but it's not enough, I don't wanna bank on it and then have it change, so. I didn't put it in the mix, or did I?
I did.
You should put it in the mix, okay, so it's already in there, I put
So that-
50,000.
So that number is in there, in there.
It's in the ultimate total.
For how much?
50.
50.
From
Yeah, we
that,
only put in the 50 that. he
Well, the
got.
cost of the work is in there, and then I had said we have this much on budget, this much.
I think it's in the minutes.
Yes.
Well, we could maybe tell their board that it's the difference between tables and no tables.
I think they're gonna go for it. Chuck just needed to go through the process. I pushed him for more and he gave me lots of reasons, so.
Well, could we? I've always one for asking for more, since
Yeah.
since we're doing the turnaround, would it behoove us to go to call public at the meeting on Monday before the vote? Just saying.
Yeah.
You could.
I sure will.
It
I
would be
sure
great,
will.
it's not right.
Because we're doing this turnaround
Yeah.
per the deed and
Yeah.
per their, hey, doing what they wanted. We could have just left it blacktop, and now we're doing a whole.
Turnaround, and we had to pay the parking.
And realistically, they're gonna use the parking lot
Yeah,
Right.
more commonly than the library.
for sure.
So that's the number I think.
Okay.
And it'd be great to see, is the number on the agenda or just discussion?
I think from reading the agenda, and the agenda's public, it's all posted, it's all out there. It is it's a discussion, so I don't know if the number, I didn't look at their word there.
But we did have a good meeting about that. We're having the Hartland Foundation meeting on Monday, so I'll be able to have that as well.
All right.
So we were keeping the tables.
So keeping the tables,
Chairs and umbrellas.
So keep the tables with the umbrella, is it? All right.
All right. The next item was to omit 4 masonry piers and replace with the vinyl fence end posts. So you remember when we created the plan, your whole perimeter is gonna have the vinyl kind of picket fence, the village style. And what we had. So on some of the ends of the fencing, we picked up kind of your architecture of your building with brick piers. Currently in the bid, there are 9 piers. And when we looked at where they were, we thought maybe we could omit 4 of them. And I'll show you where, and that would save $15,000 to $20,000. Right, and the end of the fence would just be the fence post then, we'd have it was like a 2x2 square pier.
And one of those ideas I really like, because they're actually flanking the new sign, and I'm ready to like block part of it.
Right,
Okay.
So it's this money savings for the 2 by the sign. I hate to drive up and have it just be brick until you're right in front of it, so that's one reason.
those are 2,
Yeah.
right?
Right, yeah, right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then the other one,
And
it goes along your frontage and up, there's one right there. That's tucked into the site, you don't really see it from the road, it could just be the fence post. And then the last one, your fence goes like this all the way around, and the end is here at that parking lot. That could be a fence post, because again, it's not like the stately frontage, it's a little more tucked into the site.
so we still have some along the road.
We'd have them along the road, that frontage, that
You
presence,
see them.
you
So
know?
I feel like those wouldn't be missed, like
Is that the only ones though, would be the ones along the road?
along the fence, yeah.
The ones that are staying
Yes.
will be, yeah, along the road, so. Basically, the first one you would see is right here on the corner, there's one. There's another one on that corner. One on either side of the walkway, which would be really cool,
That gives you an image.
right there, and then one on the last corner down there.
So they still kind of like
Okay.
start and stop it.
Yeah.
And I felt like that'd be, I know 20,000 isn't a lot, but it's.
That's fine, and we're trying not to undermine the job.
Yeah,
Right? So 15 to 20, here's the scoop. Once we get all this figured out, we go back to our contractor, I showed him what we're thinking. The mason has to show up and do his stuff. When he doesn't do 9 and does 5, you know how it goes.
Yeah.
So that's why I said 15 to 20,000, that makes sense?
Right.
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't anything structurally that was gonna be compromised, so it's
No,
just
we're not.
aesthetically that.
Aesthetically, I'm trying to look to see, we still, to give that hope that we promised.
And you'd still have the fence posts.
The fence posts. You still would end with the post of the fence, yeah.
What's the consensus?
I think that's reasonable.
I think it's reasonable as well.
Yeah.
Is everyone, yeah, just took us to training, that's good. Hey.
There's one more, and it's again a good value of savings of money. It's almost like $16,000. So what happened was we had to build the parking lot for the school. And you guys know that up near the school is one elevation, but then down by your doors,
If you go back here,
back down here, you know, down to the doors, it's that lower level. So we have stairs to go from the parking lot downstairs, down to the lower level. We could omit the stairs, right? And then people could basically either walk across the grass to here, or they can walk through and find their way around. It was a shortcut by doing stairs. Is that making sense?
and my thought about, I was okay with omitting them, because A, I wouldn't have to shovel stairs, and B, for accessibility, which is my point. If someone parks here, they could roll strollers, walkers, whatever, through here and get,
Get there.
it's not as linear, but if you have mobility issues or wheels, you're not gonna take stairs
You're not
anyway.
gonna do the stairs.
So, I felt like that was an acceptable thing to miss.
And if we want stairs outside in the winter.
Yeah, right.
For liability standpoint.
Yes,
Oh, right.
Scott was all for that. But,
That makes sense.
so it would be, the sidewalk would just end at the top of the little hill, it would look almost like it does now. But there'd be more of an entrance from the back of the building, right?
Right, exactly. So there's an accessible way. It's a little longer. Some of us will just cut across the lawn if we want, but there's always a way. But the stairs, as you can see, you know, it's about $16,000. They had to have them, the county, you know, back to the permit. They wanted to see them engineered. And then, concrete, then you gotta have handrails, and so it all added up. So,
Yeah, we even looked at two types of handrails.
yeah, we value engineered handrails.
Yeah.
That makes sense, then that's another way.
So is that reasonable to omit the?
I like that you're not having the stairs.
Right, I do too.
Yeah,
So that's $34,000, that's it.
that's what we came up with. I know you're hitting this, you know, cold. If we looked at other things like Sarah said, but by the time we did the math, we're like, it's just not worth it. For example, like on School Street, we have 2 parking spaces we got. You don't have them today, right? We've gone through the road commission 3 times, you know, blah, blah, and it's like,
Right.
it just got crazy. So we just were like,
The
let's just
engineer said
stay.
we take them out, we'd have to resubmit, and I said.
Yeah, so it's like,
Just for cost.
right.
Plus, that's a good spot for parents to park.
It is a good spot. It's all good. It's just like, okay.
So if we only have a contingency of 34, we have to then dedicate some of the, what did I call it in the memo? I want to use the right language. Surplus funds for capital investment. We could designate 10% of that as needed. And I would tell you if it has to, we're approaching that. Because the way our policy is written, there's some leeway. As long as I've been given authorization to, I can make sure that I get proper approvals, but I wouldn't have to wait to have a vote of everything. You'd have to vote on a certain amount to amend the budget later. So we could change the amount by the amount I suggested, we reduced it by 35,000 and just say that we found that economy, that number. Because I do think when we vote, we have to have real numbers.
Right.
If you're okay with that, we haven't talked through that second option.
Right.
I didn't know how people felt about even more money, but we have been saving every year, so I feel like we could do it.
Well, I feel it's like, it is a capital expenditure, right, and that's what we've been saving the money for, as well as I complain all the time because every time we get audited, our income is higher because of the growth of people moving to Hartland That's
It's a good problem, but it's like,
And then we could use it for something that people ask for.
And after, I think, I didn't know if it was clear, I mentioned that when we close this year, they'll probably about 500, we haven't even closed the year yet, we're still in and outing. Just so you know that that's there, but what's in the already designated, like, you wouldn't have to redesignate for this project, there's already a 1.5 sitting there that we wouldn't have touched. So it would just be saying we could use a certain amount of that. Knowing we have more. Which is a privileged position to be in, and it's nice to know. It is now 15 minutes to closing and the library is preparing to close. Please bring any items you wish to check out related to that at this time. Thank you and have a good evening.
How much would you want designated for that?
So if you look at the last page of my memo, I had said around 10% would be 200,000. It's track 35,000 from that, we found that. Take that number and add it.
So the question here as well, another decision that we need to make here is if we want to spend the 61,189.60 for the frontage gates, because that's part of this
Yes.
proposal as well.
It is.
So it's like with the money, so that will be a decision here tonight.
And that's something that we would need to make earlier on, right? Because you need support underneath that, or is it?
It needs, so if you look at that page again, we need to award the bid for the amount they listed, and if you want the gates, we have to add it to the amount. Because I'm not sure how I feel about the gates, I feel like they're nice, but they're not necessary. And so I feel like that's a decision you could talk about.
I think that my personal opinion is, I don't think it's necessary, and I'm thinking as a parent watching your kids from where you're sitting, it might block your view of where your kid is at, depending on where you're at. I'm just worried about that, especially because there's a road close and things like that. That's something.
And with the gates, if we, with that picture, there was two elements in there. There was the quilting element, if I recall, and then like a tic-tac-toe or something.
Yeah, one gate, there you go, so we've got two gates, so you can see both of them have the quilting element. But then one has tic-tac-toe and the one on the left is called a communication board. And that's where you can just kind of get different numbers, letters, stuff, young kids, play with.
So if we don't have the gates, can we put that in the garden?
We do.
We do.
Just like Sarah said, it's just gonna basically be a panel.
Okay, so it's
on
still
two
in the,
legs.
okay.
Oh, yeah, yep, that's in the basic.
Okay.
It's just we wouldn't have the structure.
And that's why I thought adding it as an
Right.
alternate. I'm
Yes.
okay with losing it for that reason.
I would, that's a lot of money just for.
It was, and we tried three
Right.
ways and it just never.
It's very cute.
It's very
Don't get me
cool,
wrong,
and
it's
it
very
would set you apart, but.
Right, but
you know,
61, almost 62,000,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
But I was talking to staff about it, they asked, could we do just one? And I don't know if that is a savings, is it really half, or is it the engineering?
It's half, I think it's absolutely half.
Because somebody said, it could just be along Hartland Road, there's one and not one in the back. Again, I'm not sure what I think, but that would be another option as well.
I'm thinking if you're still gonna have those elements as standalone.
We do.
Like playthings for
Yes.
first kids,
Yes.
and that was what the community wanted in the plan. I would say, let's not have, leave them alone.
Yeah, and that's how it is right now in the base bid, those will be included.
Okay, and it was a decision, but that's another savings, but that's not.
Right.
So if you're looking about. If that's one of our goals, then I'm okay with that. So we just remove it, that's why I had 4 between those two motions, we just want to do the second one there. Which makes it more. I did the math, so if we, for contingency, it would be about 165,000. Which that plus the savings would give us around 10%. Now, we don't have to spend it, it's just there to put it. And I'll just be reporting on that if it gets closer, or if something happens over the winters. We'd have to be comfortable on that trigger.
So Sue, from your perspective, doing these kind of jobs all the time, is 10% a safe number, or are we, in danger of
Yes.
having other, certain overruns by steel or whatever?
Sure.
Happening out there?
I feel so every job's its own story, you know? In this job, because I really do feel we have really done the homework to the nth degree, we shouldn't have surprises like other places. The contractor is a really good reputable one that's great, so he's not the type that takes advantage. So I feel a 10% is reasonable with this, you know, it's good. Yeah, Sarah and I talked about that earlier as we were counting our pennies, you know. I feel that fine on this one. I hate to say it out loud, but yes.
So we're still looking at 1,697,508 on the top figure.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then what's gonna happen, I noted somewhere in all these pages was when we got the review with the engineering firm and they said you gotta make some changes. We didn't make the changes yet to his budget. He wanted to, you know, get this all finalized, so he didn't keep changing things. Based on what I understand for the changes, it's gonna be like another 7,000. What was it? Mostly what the engineers wanted in the township was whenever we had pipe underground and it was under a rock or some hardscape, they wanted concrete, not plastic. So that's been figured out. We've got it all tailored in the budget, but I wanna let you know, once we're done with this, we're gonna take the stairs out. We're gonna do these things, fix the plans, and then our contractor who's been patient will give us a new amended bulleted quote. Does that make sense? I just don't want you to go, what the heck?
Yeah.
You know, next week it's already,
More.
you know, but we had to
Yeah.
jerking them around.
Yeah, right.
Okay, I'm gonna take these pictures off since we're not gonna. So I've been making notes here. I'm on that last page of the memo, and for number one, we would pick the first motion in that amount. And for number two, the contingency, I wrote in that we would value engineer by removing concrete pad, piers, and stairs for a savings of roughly 35,000. We don't know exactly, right? And that we would resolve to designate 165,000 from the assigned capital improvement as contingency. And that again is words giving me authority to bring it to you for a decision later. So just, you know, we haven't changed our budget, but it's just like authority to do so.
Could add a sentence offset by funds from the schools.
Yes, it says, the assigned capital improvement fund balance for the Cromaine. You mean offset by reducing the other thing?
No, if we get somewhere between 190,000 and 50 from the schools, it would really reduce.
That's already in the magic of the numbers here though, so I put.
But that's a pretty big range, 190 to 50. So I would rather put that funds in before we have to use our contingencies, what I'm trying to say.
But what range are you talking about?
It's,
It doesn't have to be a
Schools
number.
go up to 50%. So if the school goes up to 50%, it'd be $50,000.
Yeah, of the cost, yeah.
But then we could just not. Or extra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to put it in the motion.
Yeah.
Unless you
Okay.
see a benefit to it. Do you?
Well, I guess politically,
Yeah.
again, the whole reason
Okay.
we're here today instead of in the spring
Or-
had to
okay.
do with the schools. So.
Yeah.
We could put,
Although in their defense,
Yeah.
it was their deed.
yeah,
So legally they have to do it.
yeah,
It doesn't matter, and they're not required to cover it.
yeah, they're not. And so I
It's
think
in the deed.
it's a good relationship. So I could also say, including offset provided by schools or something. Okay. So we're circling around the decisions. It sounds like we're in agreement mostly.
does anybody have any more,
Yeah.
any
concerns or
more
questions?
questions? Any other questions?
You wanna go through the schedule, give yourself? Or you feel comfortable, did you see it and see how we're gonna have a start of school is when we met with those two contractors doing our pre-bid, you know, maybe please bid again. We talked about getting the parking lot paved, so come winter, it's already paved. So the way he did a schedule, he's planning to pay that, I think, in October, which is very reasonable to consider.
Sure.
That'll be nice.
Yeah.
And then we're not gonna get into that play area until the spring.
Sure.
You know, it wasn't nice how he's figured out, but he kind of went, winter break is needed,
Right.
it works. But I mean, sometimes you know how the summer spring season might even be better, but anyway, we like how he approached it.
Mhm.
And he would get out here based on, once we get things going, the 3rd of August would be, like I said, when he does that ground penetrating radar
Right.
for even digs. So. And he'd be done by next May. You know, again, weather pending, but it seems like it's not a real like good luck. You know, it's a realistic schedule.
And I actually liked the idea of the plants going in the spring,
Yes, absolutely,
you know,
right?
so that's good. I did have a meeting with the administrator of that building, the new Carol, whose name is Renee.
Rachel.
Rachel, sorry. The new head of community ed, I shouldn't call her, you know, I hate to keep saying person. And the new head of operations, and I told them, you know, the goal would be to get all of the top layer of the hardscape done, so they could drive on it over when we're not doing anything. Because can you imagine if we closed it off and just told the school, like, just look at it. Okay. So that would be a goal that they could drive on it over November to March. And then have another little bit where it needs to be topped off. And they seem to go through that flexibility, so that's good. They do have permission from the church next door, like down the road, to park there while they don't have access to it. Not long term, but just when they don't have access to it. So that's good. I think there will be feedback in the community from parents who have to drop off, and it's different, that like, who thought of this, so just be prepared for that.
Right.
You know, you have to go through pain to improve it, but I think it'll be a good thing.
But we coordinated with the schools
Yes.
totally for that turnaround. So,
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
Right. and schedule could change too. You never know if it's a lighter winter, if it's a
Oh,
harder
right.
winter, that's all
Right.
part of the.
Right.
That is the hard part when you communicate to
Right.
people. Our goal was definitely to have the concerts out on to next year. Which I think could happen, because our goal is, Memorial Day, right, or end of May,
Yeah,
so.
May. Right now he says the 17th of May. Final inspection.
We need to do that first.
Again,
Yeah, gotta be flexible.
again, being flexible, because if by chance something happens.
Oh,
or
yeah.
anything
Well, that's the
like that,
thing.
and if by chance the concerts unfortunately have to be, if it's not, yeah,
Right.
right.
That's a good add.
Just trying to,
Yeah,
like, okay, flexible, because this is a huge project, and
it is.
I'm sure the community will be understanding of that.
Yeah. And excited once things.
Right.
So,
Yeah, it'll be fun.
okay, well, just,
So we would need to have, okay, so there's two motions on the floor here, is there a motion on the floor to have, do the 1,697,508 for the contract? That would be the first, so.
Yeah, award it to Midwest Contract.
Then order to midnight, is there motion first and then we'll need.
I will motion.
Second. Second. So the motion on the floor resolved by Dawn, seconded by Holly, to award the construction contract to Midwest Contracting for a total of $1,697,508. All those in favor? Roll call. Let's roll call. Roll call. Dawn Smith,
Yes.
Holly Neal,
Yes.
Nancy Rosso,
Yes.
Kim Armstrong.
Yes.
And I'm a yes, motion passes, so. The next motion would be for the contingent assigned capital improvement balance as contingency for Cromaine Commons project, including the offset by Hartland schools. So that would be for just designating $165,000 of the assigned capital improvement. Is there a motion for that?
So moved.
I'll second.
So it's resolved by Nancy, seconded by Dawn, to approve designating $165,000 of the assigned capital improvement fund balance as contingency for the Cromaine Commons project, including the offset by Hartland Consolidated Schools. Dawn?
Yes.
Holly? Yes. Nancy?
Yes.
Jim? Yes. And I'm a yes, motion passes.
Do we need a motion for the reduction of those things, or can we just say we agree to it? The reduction of,
The particular items, the.
Well, I think since we reduced
Since we reduced it.
it to $165,000.
just so they know to change it, but you all approve those.
Right,
Yes.
right,
We got it down.
okay,
Okay, good,
very good, is there?
that is good, that's all we need.
Okay.
Good job, Sue.
Thank you,
All of
yes.
us. Yeah.
It's been a pleasure to work with Sue and with Julian, who is the structural engineer.
Civil
Civil
engineer.
engineer. He has a fun sense of humor.
Yeah.
I made him laugh once. And
Just once.
and so and we did a good process for selecting them as a firm. So I think it's worth all this effort that we go through, right? Because really the last few months, they've been working and updating me. It's worth it.
For the long process, was way to go.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Great job, thank you for all your work. Good.
Good job.
And I do want to shout out again to Liz for getting the additional, grants, that's huge, that's huge, and that whole project within the project will be amazing, so.
Excellent. So the project will start tomorrow. We'll sign things.
Yeah, I,
Or Monday.
yeah, I already told him it's nice tonight, so.
They're waiting for you,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you're going waiting. All right.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much. So.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna
Thank
do
you.
this guy.
All right.
Okay.
Next on the agenda is Call to Public. Keep in mind, the Call to Public tonight was specifically designated for this Cromaine Commons project, but you always feel free to make whatever comments that you want. Also, keep in mind, for Call to Public, you have 3 minutes. And keep in mind too, you are addressing the full board, not individuals on the board as well.
Can I still turn something in? Or is
Yeah.
it Alan's question?
Alice Wyland from Hartland Township.
Indeed, I am from Hartland Township and have been so for 56 years. I am pleased to see this project go forward. I have had 2 daughters who attended both the 21 and the 51 building. At one point, we had met in the Florence B. Deering Museum, which was in the basement here. Mr. Davenport used to have the children come over for fireside chats in that fireplace, and it was working at Christmas time. So anyway, lots and lots of memories. I have witnessed the Cromaine Library grow from humble beginnings to what it is now. To me, the library has always been inviting and a source of equal access to diverse resources. Staff and contents of this building have always been available to residents, irregardless of background, belief, and personal circumstances. That is until now, when the majority of the current library board have chosen to remove or relocate certain materials. Seemingly, said board has not seen fit to read all of the materials prior to this decision. We are fortunate to have a progressive and credited director and staff. Sadly, the majority of this board has not supported the decision she and her staff have made regarding selection of reading material. As published by the Library of Michigan, the First Amendment of the United States Constitution guarantees all people the right to receive information of their choosing. Public libraries are not responsible for supervising minors' choices or reading material. Only parents have the responsibility and the right to dictate what their children can or cannot read, review, or check out of the library. As board members, you have a fiduciary duty to always act in the best interests of the library, not the best interests of personal agenda, political view, or religious view. Board members who use their decisions to impose personal, religious, political, or other beliefs on library users are not acting in the best interests of the library as an entity. The library belongs to and serves the entire community, and trustees are in place to maintain and protect the library for the entire community, not just groups and democratic board members identify with, or where actions could invite a lawsuit. I thank you for the time. And it's from my heart, I wish the best for this library and this community.
Karen Richards from Brighton Township.
I can't hear, and so everything that goes on at these meetings that I've been to for the last year, I haven't been able to hear anything. And I hope that sometime that you figure out a way that will help me be able to hear. I would like you to consider, recommitting yourself to putting some of these books back on the shelf that they belong on. The books for May, I read, there were none of them that were bad. There were no pictures that would bother a child if they took them out. I came in last week to read the minutes from the meeting that we had last month. And I picked these 3 books up, and they're the same as the 10 books that you have not considered that were due in May. So there's 13 books that I know of that could be put back on the shelf. Please recommit yourself to get these books back where they belong. There is nothing about these books. Some of them are fantasy, some of them are the one about the person in Soho is a true story. And you're putting it at the back of the adult section. So I have to walk all the way back there to look at these books. The objections are not founded. The person admits that they didn't even read these books. They belong back on the shelf. There's so little mention of anything. A boy kisses a boy on the cheek. I've seen that happen and it means nothing. That can't take a book off the shelf. I thank you for your attention. I want you to know that I have an awful lot of children's books in my house. These are a list of the Newberry books that I have in my own personal library. And if you read My Side of the Mountain, and I hope all of you have, there's a lot of things that probably a parent could object to in that book. But it certainly is a wonderful book for children, and the Newberry book. Thank you.
Hartland Gallagos from Brighton Township.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I too am going to address the book issue. And I just hope that those of you that are supporting this control of the books have actually thought about the long-term consequences of your action and what you're trying to impose on the library and the community. I certainly have thought about it. What you are basically doing is laying the groundwork. You're creating a model. You're establishing a precedent for any future library trustee that disagrees with topics in the library's collection. The community elects members to the library board, believing that they have the best interest in the library and the whole community at heart. We've always trusted the board would respect the educated decisions of the director and staff, and respect the rights of the community to read what they wish. I feel that you have violated that trust. And as a consequence of your action, in the future, perhaps we will be more careful with our selection because we have become very weary. We're more cautious and less trusting. In the future, think about this. We might have an atheist that's elected as a board member. And that atheist might object to the Bible and other religious content in the collection. What you are doing is no different than what the atheist wants, imposing an agenda on the community. If a Jew is elected, maybe he will find books about Hitler offensive. Should he be allowed to control those books? What if a Native American becomes a board member and wants to remove or somehow control all literature that depicts his ancestors as savages? Think about that. You're basically laying the groundwork for others with personal agendas. And don't think that these examples cannot happen. You're living proof, actually, that people with agendas can be elected to this board. Most of us that are here have never thought that we would have to be here today to defend the library and the staff against a board that violated our trust. Time.
Okay. You should know me by now. Oh, I just know it's, you don't know, that's okay. Every time, We have a couple keys. Yeah. But not one as regular as me. Okay, thank you so much for, the wonderful plans, and I'm sorry for disrupting the meeting, but I really did feel like Sue deserved a round of applause. So I apologize for being disruptive during that time, but she did such a wonderful job. She was such a wonderful shepherd. And thank you for all the work that you've done on the commons. I was looking forward to coming here and just being able to say that. Because I'm all in on this library. I'm all in. I'm here for the commons, I'm here for the budget meeting, I'm here for whatever it is. I'm here to hold you accountable. When I read the agenda and saw comments for call the public about the commons, once again, I felt like, oh, here we go again, another violation of the First Amendment. So the library board is going to tell me what I needed to say, how I needed to say it, what the call to the public was. The call to the public is an opportunity for the public to continue to talk about the business in front of the board, whether it's the commons, whether it's books, whether it's the budget. We shouldn't be told what we can say, when we can say it. I did appreciate the clarification that you verbally gave before call to public that yes, we asked for the comments, but it's call to public. So I did appreciate that. But again, it felt limiting and controlling my First Amendment rights. Thank you. Stephanie Booth from Howell.
The first thing I'm gonna address is you're asking as a strategy to use the Hartland School Board call the public ask for the 50K for their grant representation. I think that's kind of poor planning if this meeting's coming right up. I think you really should look into that 50K more seriously than a last minute like call to random people. Since you're trying to, I don't know what the status is of getting out of the Michigan Library Association. Consider that insurance may drop you if you become a liability and are likely to be sued. And also it's, you guys should have read the books that you promised us a year ago. You're like an embarrassment to the community. that don't hold your religious views. Like C.S. Lewis could walk in here right now, and he was an atheist most of his life, like that example. And, you know, I think later on he converted on his own, not through outside. I don't know, but I've read some of his, recent books, so you should be dragging your views onto people, and I can mark myself safe from your husband. Thank you.
Here in G, from Hartland.
Good evening. I want to say I'm very excited about the Commons and how much it's gonna improve our already wonderful library. And to thank Sarah and her staff for all the hard work they've done. And then I want to thank the board for getting Hartland and Cromaine in the news again. Unfortunately, it's a sad story. It's a story about a library board who micromanages the library instead of doing their job properly. You have a extremely qualified library director and staff. They did their job. They read the challenged books. They gave their educated decision on what the books should happen with the books. You guys decided, some of you, to put your political and agenda ahead of what's proper for the library, what parents should be allowed to make decisions about what their children read, and you moved those books without reading them. So you made a rule because you didn't like what Sarah and came up with. Then you violated your own rule by not reading the books because it was, I don't know, too hard, too much work. I'm not sure what your rationale was. So you just put them all aside instead of letting parents decide what their children should read. And also, I have a suggestion for a new game for the game section. We have Where's Waldo? I think we need a new game called Where's Bill? Thank you.
Amber from Hartland.
Thank you, Sarah, and the library staff for your work on Cromaine Common. I believe it will be an asset to our community. This is exactly the kind of project I like to see our library invest in time in. Thank you as well to the library board for supporting this initiative. I do, however, have concerns about the board's fiscal responsibility. Given the ongoing controversy surrounding the board's decision to move the LGBTQ+ books, children's books, to the adult section, and the warnings that this action could expose the library to litigation over First Amendment violations. I would like to hear the board's plan for protecting the library's financial resources. Specifically, how does the board intend to safeguard projects like Cromaine Commons if the library becomes involved in costly litigation? What steps are being taken to assess and mitigate that financial risk so that important community investments are not jeopardized?
I do have one question, and I don't know who it belongs to, Sarah or Liz or the board. I was curious, did we get to know the amount of gifts that were donated from the community? I didn't see that published anywhere in the packet.
When we stop receiving them, I'll definitely put that in mind, but we can do that, yeah.
And it sounds like pretty much everybody has said how I feel as well.
Because last year I had inquired about making a donation to the Cromaine, both in gratitude, for the years our family has enjoyed this library, and also to honor, my mother and father-in-law, John and Janet Rex, who gave so much back to this community. And it was then that I was informed about this book challenge, and I won't go into all the disappointments of how that has gone. But what I have found is not only are these members, the 5 of you, not everybody, an embarrassment to our community, but also to our county. But now I've received a text just yesterday from someone who says it's on a book Reddit conversation read by 1.7 million people. I'm so embarrassed that I have to try to stand up for this, and that's what we're up against. It's very sad that now we've made national news and it's going throughout. I truly believe you're book bullies. You should all resign effective immediately. We, the community, will work together to restore this library to its original mission, because it appears you don't understand what that is. Then we will begin to heal. To Sarah, to the staff, to the board members, Nancy and Holly, I have told you privately, now I'll go on public record. I am so sincerely sorry for what has happened. And I, nor we, promise that we'll make it better and we will right this embarrassment.
So as the call to public, board comments or information from the board?
I just have one thing to say, just I am looking into the hearing impairment issue. And the only thing I found so far is that, you can use your phone, if you have a phone, and have it translate for you. But I'm still looking into a way that we can do it without you having to do that. So I haven't forgotten about that. I'm not sure. Did she hear it? Did she hear what we're saying?
We did close call to public, but if it's okay with the board, I'm okay with, having one more person speak. Is that Eric Karen Smith from Brighton?
I've never done this before. And I don't agree with anything that was said previously. So I wasn't gonna say anything, but I thought, well, I have to speak up for the opposition, and, I'm not here to say that all these books have to be entirely abolished. Personally, yeah, probably I would do that, but, it's the restricted access for minors. I think that I don't see a problem with that. I think that the parents should have a say so, and I think that, you know, your job is to speak for the community, and I'm assuming that you have spoken, you know, by doing those kinds of things that you ban these books. I don't even know. I know that, you know, there's 218 books or something that have been in question, and you've looked at 58 of them. And, anyways, it should be, the concern is age appropriateness, the parent authority, and, I'm in agreement. I think that those kinds of books, why can't you have to walk a little bit further to go find that book? I mean, really, is that a big burden? And, put it in an area where little kids don't have to see that. I, as a grandparent, would not want my grandchildren to be, you know, overtly exposed to the books. That's my opinion, but I think that it's not age appropriate material. So anyways, thank you for all that you did.
Comments from, were you able to hear the Trustee Smith has been working on through personnel committee that came up about personnel committee, and I don't believe it was in the notes yet, about working with something that we could do to assist with hearing. Okay, for the meetings.
So we're still trying to figure that out.
We're trying to figure it out, okay? So she's kind of been looking into something through phone apps and other things to help, okay? Is that? Any other comments or comments from the board? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion made by Kim,
Second by Holly, meeting adjourned at 25.